Welcome to GymCastic. This is our
The
live
hotel room special.
this is our live podcast immediate reactions right after watching the prelims for teams, and the teams that have made it through to the NCAA finals are Oklahoma, Florida, Minnesota, and in fourth place, LSU by score. The 2026 National Championships event finals also happened today, and your 2026 national champions are all-around national champion Faith Torres from Oklahoma, vault national champion up first from Oklahoma, Kira Wells, and bars. Are you guys ready? Your national champion on bars is Riley McCusker from Florida. Don't cry. Spencer, hold it in. And then your beam national champion is Brooklyn Roray from Minnesota. And floor national champion is the person that has the best dance in all the NCAA. Once again, just like last year, another UCLA gymnast. It is Jordan Chiles. This is our live behind-the-scenes Q&A show that we do especially for Club Gym Nerd members who help pay the bills and send us to these meets, where we have our immediate reactions right after the competition ends. And today's show is brought to you by Oklahoma wearing a jewelry store as a leotard.
Did they?
What, did you also notice that there was a woman standing and that I hadn't seen before, and she had a pinstriped cat suit on? And I was like, oh, she is the cat burglar who got all the jewelry for their leotards. I did talk to her afterwards, and even about
you confirmed she's a cat burglar.
I confirmed that she is the massage therapist, but dressed up special for the meet, and obviously the whole thing worked. Before we get into the details, reminder that NCAA live show is tomorrow on Friday, featuring the floor goddess team diplomat Chae Campbell. That is tomorrow on the day off when there's no gymnastics. Spencer, if you were going to pitch Chae as a talk show guest.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. A non-gym nerd.
Almost like that's what's happening tomorrow at a live show. Yeah.
Right.
I would say I am very interested to hear her perspective on having been at UCLA when Chris Waller was the head coach and then wasn't the head coach anymore. I feel like she would have some interesting insight into that situation, and I would like to know about it.
Yeah. And she might be joined by some special guests, especially now that some teams didn't make it. So you can still get a ticket. There are still some tickets left. You can get an in-person ticket and come and watch live, or you can get a virtual ticket, because if you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be asleep during this, that's okay, because with a virtual live streaming ticket, you can watch the live show later. And we have accommodated for all these things. And if you're a club member, you can still get a discount. So tell all your friends, come to the live show. Thank you, everybody that stayed up so late, because it's 12:30 here in
You guys, the awards take a long time.
Yeah, but is there a new award? They give an academic award. Is that?
They always do, like the Elite 90 or whatever.
Yeah, I was very impressed. I was like, oh yeah, they're supposed to go to school. Okay, breaking news. Semifinal 2.
The state of Minnesota. Is that your breaking news? That's my breaking news from semifinal 2 is Minnesota with 50 T's, because Minnesota again. And I love that it was like the exact same thing as the regional final, where it was like Minnesota is good enough to force you to have to hit, even if you are a top-ranked team competing against them, and people keep not doing that. And they're like, thank you for our spot at nationals. Thank you for our spot in the national final. Now, all I want is thank you for our national championship. I'm 100% in on national champions, Minnesota. That's all I want. You're muted. You're still full. It's just a full mute.
Oh my God. The mute button wouldn't unmute. I'm so sorry. There were so many people wearing Minnesota shirts. It was just beautiful to see. Like they were the team that everyone wanted to make it. And I asked Jenny, the head coach, in the press conference,
We have
about
2 Jennies, which is not helpful.
Everyone needs to really
Everyone needs to change their name.
change your names immediately. But I asked her, there's been so much upheaval and violence in the city of Minnesota that has happened over the years and recently, and how did that impact the team, if it did? And I asked the gymnasts this too, and they looked to her for an answer. And she said, that it was very upsetting and heartbreaking to watch what was happening, but they made a point of letting everybody know that they could talk, to each other, that they would support each other, and that has, been part of what their closeness as a team is, that everybody is supported no matter what. And I thought that is part of, I feel like, one of the reasons that people were so behind Minnesota. I mean, I think of that as like a great Cinderella story. Have we figured out another word for Cinderella yet? We haven't, but it's a Cinderella story, but also they're so good, you can't not root for them. But also, like, Minnesota has been through it as a city, and so supporting the people of Minnesota.
Minneapolis has been through it as a city. Minnesota is a state.
It's 12:30.
But that would have happened on a normal show also.
That would have too, yes. So the other thing that happened was when Minnesota made it, they were like, oh, UCLA and Arkansas, you're out of there.
Yeah.
Not controversial, though.
Well, I mean, it would have been, but UCLA did not hit vault, really. I mean, Caitlin Rosen fell, and then Mika Webster-Longen basically equivalent of a fall.
Even though she got a
landing short and steps back.
Generous score.
Yeah. There were a lot of that for errors. A lot of generous people making errors and generously keeping those scores kind of where we expected them to be heading in. But yeah, I think as I said before, what we learned from the regional final is that Minnesota is going to make you have to hit, and UCLA had to hit. And if they had hit vault, they would have advanced, but they didn't.
Yep. And Minnesota, I mean, the first rotation starting off on beam, they were isn't that where they started? Beam. They were spectacular in beam, as they were in the regionals. Ironically, the person that had a little problem was Emma Slevin, who's the person that clinched it for them. But then going to bars, their last event,
she clinched it on bars.
Emma Slevin is the one that got the score that guaranteed they were in, and UCLA was out. And it was upsetting to see. I feel like Janelle, the head coach of UCLA, looked like she was already in tears before Jordan even went, because they knew they knew
the scores. Yeah,
they knew they weren't going to make it. But then again, like Jordan, it was what happened today. Starting off the meet, like.
She started off with a fall on bars, which is on a cast handstand, which was very surprising.
And the thing about that was she did the exact same thing in podium training. She casted, went over, and just jumped off the bar. And the irony of that is that it's exactly what happened, and exactly what she did in practice is exactly what she did in competition. And in, the opposite side of that, we saw Kalia Lincoln made a mistake on beam, didn't get her connection, so she repeated the same thing again
and didn't get the second time.
Didn't get the connection, but she also didn't fall off. She tried something else to get a better score. Jordan didn't have to jump off the bar. Like, you should improvise. And I asked Kalia Lincoln, like, do you practice doing that? Do you have, if you messed up? And she was like, well, normally I don't miss it. So, but but she
that's
said,
the flex we like. People who miss might have to practice that.
But I don't practice that. But she said, when I miss something, I know I have to repeat it for my start value. And so when I saw Jordan do that in practice, I was like, oh, this is not good. Because she could have half pirouetted and not fallen off the bar. Like, if anyone can improvise a bar routine because it's super easy for her, she can do it. But she did start her whole routine over again. But that was really a bummer. But she did go out as the floor national champion. As she should, because if all tumbling is equal and your leaps are equal, that is the right thing to do. So I think the judges got it correctly there. But I was happy I did
feel like not under control in her first pass. And some judges went 10.
I mean, yeah. That's the dance bonus that I've been telling people about. If you dance, they don't notice what else is going on there. But I was happy that I don't think this was controversial at all. Like, absolutely, Minnesota deserved it. And Yeah. Yeah. And fact checker was on the floor, doing his photography thing, which there are already galleries up to check out. And yeah, he was like, no, not under control, but she did slide back out of that double.
Yeah. I mean, like the way it looked from our perspective where we were sitting, when she was in the air, we were like, oh, out of bounds. It was one of those where in the air, and she didn't go out of bounds, but did kind of bounce back, I thought. So,
yeah.
I'm not going to allow you to say not controversial, because anything could be controversial if you try hard enough.
I mean, I felt like there was no one that was like, oh my God, Arkansas should have made it.
They didn't have a great one. There were good moments, but I thought from that very first floor, which then we had to have a 90-hour judges conference because something that wasn't exactly as planned happened. So we had to be out of range and talk about it and delay the entire rotation. And I felt like from that moment, it was just kind of flat. And like, it's not an excuse. You should be able to come back from, a delay. But they were just kind of chugging along and they'd have a good routine, and then they never built on that. Like, they had a really good stretch. They had a couple really nice vaults at the beginning of the lineup, and Allison Cucci stuck hers, and I was like, okay, they're sticking. They're getting these scores. Leah Smith had stuck her Yurchenko full before that, and I was like, here they go. And then they kind of started to land short, and it was just everything. There was kind of an abbreviation of that.
And that's the thing.
We started to see the really good ones.
And like I've been saying all year, they're a really good vault team, but that's the thing. Like they will go up from there, but it's not everywhere, and that's the problem. I want to talk about Oklahoma because I want to talk about some things that happened.
They won the semifinal day by 1 million. They were so much better than everyone else today.
So good. Double Ender says.
Thoughts on Faith winning the all-around in her first all-around appearance of the year? I don't know why, but I feel a little conflicted about it. Faith is amazing, by the way. I understand.
This is what Oklahoma does.
It is what Oklahoma does. I understand where you're coming from, because you spend the whole season seeing people competing in the all-around and building up their ranking. You kind of get this sense of who is competing in the all-around. It's a competition on the day. Who goes out there and hits on the day. And we thought, it was going to be the Kaylin Chio versus Jordan Chiles, maybe Selena Harris, maybe Avery Neff. All of them had issues here and there, some bigger than others. And Faith Torres was like, "Here, welcome to the last minute lineup change," because she wasn't even in the vault lineup that they submitted as of morning of. She wasn't in the vault lineup.
Clearly, she was going to vault. Like, yeah.
Was it clearly? I don't know.
I think it's clearly, because the thing is, like, during podium training, like you said, like, going back to the all-around question, I was like, Avery Neff's going to win. Avery Neff totally won podium training. I was like, clearly she's the best gymnast here by a mile. And I mean, like, literally everything she does is higher, farther, except Khalil Lincoln. But just the amplitude and internal dynamics and form, better than anyone that has gone all day. But yeah, she had little mistakes today. But going back to Oklahoma and Theta, we didn't see hardly at all.
She let off beam.
But yeah, we saw her hardly at all in podium training. And so we're like, okay, something's wrong. So and then she ended up doing beam and then had some stuff on her hand afterwards and didn't do the other events. And so we did get an answer to that in the press conference, which is adorable, because KJ was like, we've had some adversity. And I'm like, adversity? Like, this is nothing compared to last year's. But she said that Beta hurt herself doing a conditioning exercise and she sprained her hand. So they were being careful with her. She was able to do beam, but that is why she was out. And, luckily that didn't matter, because they are an army of ninja level 10s who get shit done. So they don't need no elite. And they had people step in and still get the highest score by a mile of everyone, and well-deserved. I also asked Spencer, I said, there's been some talk about something being wrong with the bars podium because so many people missed landings and a bunch of teams. And so, was everything okay there? Was the carpet glued down Was everything okay? And then it was Kira Wells and Faith Torres, and they like giggled and like looked at KJ, and I was like, or the vault, and she was like, so the bars podium, and I was like, or the vault podium, either one. It was all the carpets, were they okay? Were they correct? And she was like, yes, everything was fine. Then she was like, yeah, we will improve our landings. We could have done better. We only had, and she had notes. She was like, how many sticks did we have? And da, da, da. But you remember last year's controversy about the vault podium. So I did make sure to bring that up.
I thought that was when, you mean when Oklahoma was eliminated 2 years ago?
2 years ago. Sorry, not last year, 2 years ago. So,
yeah.
No.
Oklahoma had started phenomenally on vault. That was a crazy good rotation. Kira Wells what became the NCAA vault champion for the first position. She was like, this is what you need. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, bars landings were not great. There's a lot that they will look at and say, and everywhere except vault, I think they'll look at and say, that could be better, that could be better, that could be better. But among the teams that competed today, they were far and away had the strongest performance.
Before we talk about the semifinal one and some more of the event winners, I do want to let you guys know that this is where we say goodbye to our non-club gym nerd members. And why do you want to give you? We're going to talk more at length for them. So they are the ones that support our independent journalism and who pay for our trips and all of that stuff. So I'm going to talk to them about the injury to an OU gymnast that happened in podium training, and also the song that they played for LSU in the arena, which I was gobsmacked about, and some other things that you may not have seen on TV if you're watching. So if you're not a member, we will see you back here. You can join the club and listen to the extended version, or you can buy your live show tickets, and then we'll see you tomorrow, virtually or in person, for the live show with Chae Campbell. So until then, here's what happened. Okay, so
if you liked what you heard, get more by joining Club Gym Nerd.